Alright kiddos, here is my next video. So, excuse the handwriting. I know I don't have the best handwriting in the first place, but hey, I tried. But what we're going to do today, and this is actually a video I'm making specifically towards y'all. We're going to derive linear factors for polynomial expressions, specifically quadratic functions, and then we're going to use that to help us solve the roots of quadratic functions. I did write this on the bus, so kind of go with that and try and keep myself from getting any motion sickness or anything like that. But anyways, I did make 2 videos with this, or I've already made one other video from previously before. Try to watch both because both of them, this one kind of goes over some of the new methods we're looking at, and the other one talks about some other things. So they're both very good. I do know the other one's 12 minutes, but hey, you're okay with that. Anyways, let's look at this. So we want to say solve these, and so let's start off with this. This is something I've always used to show my kids or show my students. The polynomial expression, the quadratic function. Just understand this table. This is a table that I used to always use. I think as we go through the lesson you may not need this as much, but plus plus, you should have plus plus in parentheses. Minus plus should have minus minus, plus minus, you should have plus minus in either one. The larger sign will go to whatever large sign's in the middle, and you'll kind of see that. So kind of understand this table. So what do we have next? Let's remember. This right here, we had like the diamond math, or what you were doing, or what you should be doing, like, or what you did hopefully Friday. 32 times 8, or 32, what numbers multiplied give you 32, and it would add up to 18. Well, you've got, see, 32 and 1, 2 and 16, 3 doesn't work, 4 and 8, 5 doesn't work, 6 doesn't work, 7 doesn't work, so we're at 8, we're good. And we can easily add 2 and 16 to get 18. So there's our 2 numbers. What about 60 and negative 60 and negative 7? Well, if you go through those, you go through all those numbers right there, and finally you got to this, and you could say, oh look, it's obviously 12 and 5. Should it be 12 minus 5 or 5 minus 12? Well, 5 minus 12 gives me a negative 7. So using this can kind of help you with the parentheses there and solving quadratic functions. So what we're doing here is by factoring, we're going to have something like this. Notice here how I've got the plus plus. In the parentheses you're going to have x and x. X squared means xx. Plus plus means plus plus. This is what I meant by the polynomial expression to the linear factors. The parentheses are the linear factors. Okay, then what do I do from there? Well, I could do the diamond math and say 32 and 18 just like we did on the previous slide, and I now know that's 2 and 16. Well, those are the 2 numbers that go in the parentheses, and you're done. That's factoring. What would happen if it had been equal to? Well, we'll get to that in a second. So here's another one, 36 and negative 13. Okay, so again, keep in mind, think about this. Well, you got a positive number, but you got a negative number here. So that means you had to have 2 negatives, because a negative times negative is positive, but negative plus negative, it still stays negative. So the 2 numbers that I want to see here is going to be x and x, and this would be, again, we're the table. Minus plus means minus minus, because a negative times a negative is positive, and a negative plus a negative is still negative. What 2 numbers multiply to give you 36 and add up to 13? It would be 4 and 9. So that's factoring. So you factored it. That's it. That's really all you're doing here at the beginning. So let's do another example. This was like the previous example where we did the 5 and the negative 12. Notice how that becomes x plus 5, x minus 12. Now, the big difference between this slide here and, say, the previous slide, notice those were not equal to 0. This one is equal to 0. So what we have to do is that either one of these parentheses technically is supposedly equal to 0. So what we do is we actually make all of the parentheses equal to 0. So let's do that. And then solve the equation. Well, the opposite of adding 5 would be to subtract 5, so then that would give me x equals negative 5, and the opposite of minus 12 would be to add 12, which would give me x equals 12. So there you go on that. Notice there how that solves. Notice from the parentheses to the answers that you got. So x is equal to -5 or +12. Okay, this one, next example, you have here a -40 plus or -40 and then a +3. Okay, so obviously to get a negative number on top, you'd have to have a positive and negative, and they're subtracting. So if you do that, you got to go with, okay, let's see, what two numbers can I multiply to get 40 that would subtract to give me a 3? Could it be 8 and 5? I think it is, because 1 and 40, 2 and 20, 4 and 10, 8 and 5. And notice here, it's 8 minus 5, because 8 minus 5 is +3, not 5 minus 8. So then that would mean I'm going to write here, x plus 8, x minus 5. Then set them equal to 0 and begin to solve. So when you solve those, see how it goes, minus minus, plus plus, and now we've got x equal to -8 or x is equal to +5. And that's really about it, guys. I mean, watch the other video also because it will help you to get set up, but that's about it. If you have any questions, have them ready on Monday when I see y'all again. Thank you and take care.